The Dogs land coveted 2026 quarterback Jared Curtis. This is what we're talking about all night. Welcome into the DGD Podcast. I'm Robert Reynolds, and that's my guy Keon. Keon, how are you, man? Oh,
Yeah, it's a great day.
there it is. Before we do anything, for those watching live,
Yeah,
just go Dogs, because Kirby did it earlier,
he
and
did it.
so should you. Uh, yeah, so I'm ecstatic and happy Cinco de Mayo too. By the way, for those
Cinco
celebrating.
de Mayo. Yes.
Yeah, so what a Monday. Uh, Going into this, so man, I'll tell you what, and we'll break this down. We're gonna break this commitment down pretty in depth, and I think there's a lot of dominoes that are gonna fall from this. There's what's next for
Mm-hmm.
Georgia. You name these questions, we're gonna talk about it. So for me, obviously, I think the quarterback position is the key position for any recruiting class, and you just got the best quarterback in the country. So let's talk about that. Keon, first things first, what are your overall thoughts on Jared Curtis as a
Uh,
prospect, and now that he's a Georgia Bulldog?
dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think, and I've been seeing people throw around different comps for him. For me, it's Matthew Stafford. The raw intangibles are there. I mean, you have the size, the strength, the arm talent. I mean, honestly, I think he has the best arm uh in the entire cycle, to be all the way real with you. I think it's very interesting to see how his final year in high school is going to pan out. Wishing him the best. But overall, dude, we and I'm kind of stumbling over my words here because it's amazing. We have the number one quarterback in this cycle committed to the University of Georgia. Just like you said earlier, the dominoes, right? Me and you have talked about this a lot off air. So to give it to the people live and direct, man, this is huge. I think there was a lot of targets that were honestly waiting in the wing to see how this entire recruitment was going to play out. He committed. I think he's shutting down his recruitment. If I didn't mishear that.
I mean, we know how that is. It's a big deal. If that is true, then that's a huge deal, actually.
Yeah, so you're looking at this. I mean, Georgia, now you have to start potentially looking at Georgia's name with some of these elite uh pass catchers and playmakers. I mean, because when you have a Jared Curtis committed, you also heard him talk immediately after uh his commitment about how he wants to now target Jackson Cantwell and continue to be used as a recruiting tool within himself, to help bring in an elite class here for Georgia. So it's huge, man. Honestly, I mean, you got to throw us potentially in dimension, right? Not saying we get these guys, but Siderian Morgan, you have a Calvin Russell who's still out there, right? You have, uh, I mean, I could even say,
Mosley had an interesting tweet after the commitment too.
I
If
thought we was gonna get Mosley before Jared Curtis. He definitely coming now.
I was about to say, I'm just looking at it this way, right? Like when you know the names that you listed are pretty top tier receivers, and Ryan Mosley is no slouch by any means either. But you're right, kids of all positions, especially ones that will be dealing with quarterbacks, are paying attention. And I think most notably, I think like I said, Ryan Mosley was one that I saw personally, and Cantwell, right? And I want to talk about that a little bit later because I think that could be something that George is on the radar, considering he's going to commit in what 8 days. I think it's
Yeah,
just a little bit over a week from now. Um, but no, I want to go back on this. I think it doesn't do it justice unless we go back from to the beginning. If you really want to look at it, keep in mind, Jared Curtis was already committed before. For those that aren't familiar, so he had committed before to Georgia and then decommitted actually the week of the Texas game.
Right.
So generally speaking, you don't really it's extremely hard to watch someone, especially a quarterback too, decommit and then reel them back into class. I thought that was extremely impressive. And I'm going to throw a name out that I think deserves the credit here, but I guarantee you there's a huge portion of this fan base that's not going to allow it, and that's Mike Bobo.
Right.
Mike Bobo deserves the credit on this. He's been recruiting him extremely hard. The family loves Mike Bobo, and and we can have our opinions on this, right? But at the end of the day, the family they believe in what Mike Bobo's done, and there's argument for and against it. I completely understand, but at the end of the day, he was the main reason, in my opinion, recommits to Georgia. And so you have to give him credit for where it's due.
I mean, 100%. I mean, I definitely agree with you there. I think what Mike Bobo was able to do with, getting Jared Curtis to recommit and then, seal the deal. I mean, hats off to him all the way, honest. I do want to say this, though, to the fans out there that got a lot of negative shit to say about in regards to Mike Bobo. He just brought you the number one quarterback in the nation. Shut the hell up.
Hold on. Keep in mind, we're going to throw a fun stat out here. The first time that Georgia, this right now, if once everything goes and if he signs into this class, he will be the first number one quarterback in the cycle that Georgia signed since none other than the comp that you said earlier and the comp I agree with, and that's Matt Stafford back in '06. And we've had 5-star quarterbacks before. Keep in mind, we had Justin Fields and Eason and everything. They weren't the number one quarterback. And so you're looking at a situation where this is the first time since '06 where
Mm-hmm.
Georgia had the top quarterback. Who coached Matt Stafford?
Oh, you mean in high school?
No.
Oh.
That sets Mike Bobo, by the way.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely that. You know what's crazy? I met Mike Bobo during that time frame because we went to a family thing. We went to go see Highland Park. Highland Park during that time frame with Matthew Stafford, best team like out here in the DFW area. Like they were on some.
He was probably close to you back then, wasn't he, Ben?
As far as location, yeah, not even. I'd say maybe about 30 minutes away. I'd say about a good 30, maybe 35 minutes away.
Like to put that into perspective, that's like me going to see Faison.
Yeah. So like, but I mean, overall, dude, like you look at it. I mean, he's killing it on the trail, dude. I mean, you go out here, you grab the number one quarterback in the nation. I don't think people really understand how big of a move that is and what all that can impact. Because here's the thing, when you have an elite quarterback that's on roster, that bro, that can impact us this cycle and next. You realize that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it can impact multiple cycles. I mean, look at now. I'm going to use this on the exact opposite scale, but look at the situation that we had in the '23 class when we went all in on Arch.
Mm-hmm.
Don't land him, and then fortunately, you had Puglisi, or no, excuse me, that was Raiola class. But then so you don't get Arch, right? Now you're looking at a situation where Raiola was a 5-star, and you get him in the class, but fortunately, Puglisi was there because, and I think this is something that Georgia fans can be ecstatic today. That I can't overshadow just how monumental that is for this specific cycle. But if you're sitting here telling me that things are done in May, I would have a hard time believing you because if you look at the team that we beat out for his services, do you really think that they're going to just give up easily?
On Jerry, I don't think it's a matter
Oregon
of.
Ducks the Oregon Ducks will not let that go. Now,
I think it's a situation where like they, and this is just me, right? This is just me.
Mhm.
I personally feel like this kid is shutting his recruitment down. I mean, because you committed.
Best thing for Georgia.
I mean, honestly, because you think about it, you committed, you decommitted, you committed again. That's it, right? Like, how long do you want the merry-go-round to continue to go? And you already know that you're the guy. You're the guy in the cycle, because that's something else I don't think a lot of people are familiar with. So, like last cycle, of course, y'all saw that we were. I mean, we cast our line for Juju, right? But what people don't tell you is that Curtis was the number one focus for this cycle.
Juju. Even
He
over.
was the number Yeah, he was the number one focus this cycle over Juju before Juju reclassified.
Well, he was the main focus. To put it in a different term, he was the main focus this cycle and last.
Yeah. So, I
And
mean,
I think that bodes well for how the family took that. Honestly,
exactly. And then I think when you really look at it all, you're looking at some of the weapons that we already have committed with Vance Spafford. I could see him shutting his recruitment down because now, I mean, we got the number one quarterback in the class, buddy.
I mean, what you're saying is people that may
Yeah, I'm saying if you leave, you're downgrading.
possible, yeah. I mean, depends on situations, everything. I'm not gonna sit there and bash the kid.
I'm no, I'm not bashing him. I'm saying from who's throwing you the football, the number one quarterback in the class is committed to where you are currently committed to.
Yeah, I mean, it could definitely entice kids to, reassure their commitment, and even then, like we talked about a little bit earlier ago, kids that are on the fence, right? Maybe one way or the other, leaning Georgia or leaning somewhere else. Yeah, maybe you look at Ryan Mosley, who's on the fence with
Mm-hmm.
Georgia and South Carolina. I, he's paying attention to this because that's the number one quarterback, and when we compare it to South Carolina for just a brief second, what is their plan for quarterback after? Because they have Lenore Sellers, but he's starting to get a lot of draft talk, and if he goes, what is their quarterback situation? I know they got Air Noland, things like that, but at the same time, I think kids, especially in these classes with these quarterbacks, that's going to matter to them. And also, we have to assume that he is going to be that Curtis is going to be taken over as a vocal leader in recruiting this class. If
Absolutely.
that's the case, that could be a long way on getting things. Now, to be fair, Keon, it isn't your old recruiting style where a 5 star is going to bring other 5 stars. And the reason why I say that is because shit's getting pricey. It's getting
Yes, it is.
This is the world of NIL. Now, to be fair, again, it sounds like based off of the numbers that were being kind of thrown out there, that Georgia didn't have to pay a ton like we were
Mm-hmm.
expecting to get him either. And it sounds like it's a 2 year deal, about 2 million, where it's kind of backloaded, right?
Yeah.
So for us, now at the same time, I'm looking at it as you come in, that first year, you make your money, learn, become a better player, get that raise in year two, and then come year three, if you're full time starter, whatever the case may be, that's when you renegotiate a new contract, and then you're looking at elite tier money, starting quarterback money.
So,
I think that's something that Georgia's got to be prepared for, and it sounds like they are.
I'm gonna tell you this, and you've heard me say this off air about this recruiting cycle and about what potentially happens to our quarterback room if he commits here. Um, James Coley, lock it down. Evan, shout outs to you. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I think this quarterback room gets cleared out by the time Jared Curtis gets into his redshirt freshman year. Not his true freshman year. Year 2.
I could see that. I mean, I want to
And
kind of.
I look at guys like Ryan Montgomery. I look at guys like Ryan Puglisi because look, bro, Jared Curtis didn't come here to sit and wait for 2 or 3 years.
I don't think the fan base will allow it.
No,
It's a 5-star.
yeah.
People
So
expect it's going to be real for that. Keep it. That's something that Georgia just picked up as well. That people have to understand, and I'm sure they'll get this. But the expectations
oh yeah,
with a 5-star and the number one quarterback in the cycle, the expectations that are coming with it too are going to be massive.
absolutely.
So
You and you know what those conversations are? National championship.
I mean, hey, I'll take that all day. Sign me up. You know, I see. Is that who I think it is? Is that Mr. Hightop right there? He says see Puglisi and Montgomery. You know, the unfortunate aspect of this is with this situation right here, the common theme that people want to gravitate toward is who's leaving. Um, and the reason why I say that is because based off of what we know with the quarterback class right now, our quarterback room specifically, he is about to be paid substantially more than every other quarterback in our room right now.
Maybe combined.
Maybe I
You,
don't know. I ain't never
maybe combined.
but I mean, I know he's probably going to be the most. He's going to have the highest salary, I would assume.
So if you don't think that Kirby is not looking at him and saying, "Okay, get in, learn the playbook, get your body right, and then get ready," because I think Kirby is going to hand. And granted, I don't think it's, and I get it. He's going to have to come in and compete, but let's be serious. Kirby is not sitting him on the bench for 2 years or 3 years. That's not happening. I'm sorry,
People would
Ryan. I'm sorry, Ryan Montgomery. I'm sorry, Ryan Puglisi. It's not happening. It's not.
Yeah, I don't see that either. I think the only thing for me is to make sure in year one you grow and learn the playbook, right? I think you need to learn the playbook and stay healthy as possible. Because when we look at situations, right, like Puglisi, that this spring was his first real spring, right? Montgomery he's still recovering from the ACL, I think it was. And so you look at the quarterbacks that we brought in, you know, you got Gunner that's been here for a while, and now he's getting his turn. And then you got Hezekiah Melinder, that is just a freshman, and he's getting his feet wet in the system and everything too. But when it comes to Curtis, I think the expectations are going to be there early on to be either the backup or the starter. The reason I say this, I think based off of the expectations, people are going to want to see him either close or the starter. Now, in my opinion, I think Gunner will come back after this year, right? So that's you probably got 2 years with him. I say probably because we don't know yet. Um, if Gunner comes back, I think you look at Puglisi, and I think you look at Puglisi, and I think you look at Curtis having a battle for the backup spot almost instantly, which to me leaves Montgomery out uh, of the equation. Not saying he's completely out. I don't really like doing that, but I think expectations are going to make it appear that way. Oh, you muted yourself, Keon.
And I understand that. I just don't think that there's a situation where I just don't see Jared Curtis sitting for 2 or 3 years. Like I just don't. I really really don't, especially with the money that he's getting paid. Like, yeah, nah, I just don't see that. Now, one thing I will say, um, it does kind of change the scope for us when it comes to quarterback recruiting moving forward, right? Because I know there's Jace Johnson and a couple of other guys. You have is it Kyron Hudley, Bo Hudley's cousin, who's the quarterback.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's like, do you take one of those guys, or do you take a developmental guy to put behind Curtis? Like, what's the game plan there?
Part of me looks at it as you got the development piece in Millender from last cycle.
Right. So do
Now,
you go get another 5-star next cycle?
I think it's how they value the class, in my opinion. The 27 class.
I think the
Um,
27 class is going to be way better than this
it
class.
depends. I mean, we haven't really looked too deep into it, right? With it being the kind of early, getting ready to be prime time, if you will, uh, for the 26 class. But not like I'm looking at different positions right now that I know, like edge and 27 is about to be stupid. But
Yeah.
if we're getting back to the 26 class though, like I want to kind of figure out, you know, we feel like, this is the one time, and the first time I should say, the first time that we've had to go out there and have a lot of money for a quarterback, right? If you look at that way, it's to me it's a little bit ironic, Keon, that people were bitching and complaining that we weren't spending money,
Yeah.
and those same people are bitching and complaining a little bit once we do spend the money. How where are we going to spend that? I mean, we ain't got that much money left. It's like you can't have it both ways there,
No, you can't.
but you have to look at it in a sense where Georgia's showing that they're taking this NIL situation seriously, because I think last year, up until last year, I don't think they thought the numbers were real until kid after kid was coming in with these numbers.
Yeah.
Once they saw that situate, I think, to me, that's when they got the understanding, and they knew to be aggressive when it comes to NIL. Are they going to be the top? No, they're not. You're not going to see Georgia be, in my opinion, the top NIL, especially when you're coming in with recruitments with the likes of Oregon or Miami, right? Which with Cam, just a second. These schools, like, they're going to put money up. I guarantee you, Oregon put more money up.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, for this specific instance, I don't see NIL being the biggest factor. I think it's a multitude of things, really. I think distance. I think relationships. It feels like an old school style recruitment.
Yeah. And that right there is what I was trying to.
Going on. Nobody knew what was going on. Like
Yeah.
coming to today, we had guesses. It was not a certain thing. It was guesses. You had folks from the Oregon side feeling one way. They did kind of lean a little bit Georgia's way, but at the same time, it was never enough confidence to go out there on the limb and say he's a lock to Georgia or he's a lock to Oregon, or you see what I'm saying. So this was one of those old style recruitments that had everything under wraps. People were guessing. The experts didn't truly know. Both teams felt confident, right? But Georgia pulls away and you know, reestablishes the commitment with Curtis. So let's do this. Let's talk about the dominoes. Let's talk about the dominoes now that Curtis is in this class for the Georgia Bulldogs. All right. So prior to this, we were under the impression, Keon, it was either Curtis or Bo Bentley,
Yes.
Georgia, for Georgia. With that being said, now you look at Oregon, and it was ironic that Steve Wiltfong put in a prediction for Oregon like mere minutes after he announced his commitment for Ryder Lions to go to Oregon.
Yeah.
So is that their domino?
Yes.
In my opinion, yes. However, with the Mormon mission, it makes me think that he could be a 27 get.
Yes.
So, with that being said, if I'm a team that needs a quarterback, I'm watching out for this.
You know who I think they go and pursue?
Ooh,
I think they go and pursue Brandon Faison
oh,
because they have Kendra Harris on.
no,
I
Kendrick.
think
Listen, that would be a fun combo to watch. Now, part of
you,
me,
you know what else? You know what else I found out, Rob?
what's that?
Found out that Kendra Harrison and Brandon Faison, not only they're best friends,
Flip it.
but they hmm?
It's Faison is his first name.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Faison Brandon. My apologies.
Now you get
So I found out that Kendra Harrison and Faison Brandon, not only are they best friends, but their moms are best friends.
I mean, they're close, man. I mean, Reedsville and Greensboro is not far away from each other. It's
No, it's not far at all.
5 minutes, 30 minutes away. It would not
But I'm
surprise
I,
me
I'm
for
I'm
sure.
gonna just tell you, as a person, right? Like I have a very close friend who me and our dads are very close friends, right?
Yeah,
You know how easy it is to convince your parents to send you somewhere when your best friend is going there. Yeah, how easy that is to go have that conversation with your mom or dad, and say, "Hey, well, you're my best friend is getting sent here.
yeah.
Shouldn't I join them?"
See, it's interesting because
And then
I mean,
they moved. Kendra Harrison moved or moving.
they'll be.
They're moving to
What I'm
Oregon.
saying is they'll be moving because I think he's still going to play at Reedsville. Once he
No,
graduates, they'll probably move.
no, he's moving.
No, that's what I'm
He's
saying.
mo-
He's still got a senior year at Reedsville
no,
right now.
no, he's moving to Oregon.
Okay.
He's moving to have his senior year at one of Oregon's pipelines. Is what I'm telling you.
Surprising considering he moved to Providence for that little bit of time, but it's a little bit longer of a draw, a little bit of a move, if you will. But no, I think with Faison though, man, I don't know because Tennessee got him in early and often, and then with the NIL situation here in North Carolina, you're looking at that as probably a signing bonus. So to me, I don't know. I would still if he's gonna flip, I would watch out at least at the moment for LSU, but with Oregon not getting Curtis, anything can happen now because they've got the money to go get whoever they want. And so
It's
for me, Keon, if I'm a team going after a Landon Duckworth, all right, I'm looking at that. I'm
Rob.
watching
I
you
want you
got
to think about it like
lighting
this.
up at Ole Miss. Oregon can put themselves firmly into conversation and go from there. Now the question is, they did put their eggs in one basket.
I
Or
absolutely did. I
at
absolutely
least
did.
based off of what our Oregon friends have said. So
Yeah. But what they've also said is that Kendra is moving, and from that, not only is he moving, but with them missing on Curtis, it potentially opens the door there.
I mean, they can try
Because
it. I just don't feel confident, at least at the very moment. But anything can happen in the world of NIL, man. Anything can happen. Anything.
Rob, I think if I wanted to convince you to move to Texas, I think I'd be pretty successful for that.
You know what though, Keon?
I think it's a whole nother conversation if I can get your significant other convinced on you moving to Texas, and then I talk to you. You know
Guess
what I
what?
mean?
Guess what though? To be a devil's advocate, Texas ain't Oregon.
But we have Whataburger.
I know, and you ain't got no state income tax. Oregon
Come
do.
on, Rob, move to Texas.
Hey, we got water close by. You might have to up the ante on that.
Well, y'all got a Texas Roadhouse?
Of course. Boy Jay be eating the rolls up now too.
Not real.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's neither here nor there. He'll take 4 of them real quick.
Man,
But
slice them things like butter, baby.
but he'll be eating them, and then the chicken tip. Yes, sir. But no, I want to get back to it real fast. We talked about the dominoes for the quarterbacks, where things could go possibly. I want to look at who's the next Georgia Bulldog, right? And I asked this question in the chat, and this is
Ryan Mosley.
a common answer here.
Oh,
Uh,
Cantwell. Oh, I thought you were. My
Cantwell could be
bad.
the next to commit to the University of Georgia. I mean, to be fair,
I
he
agree.
is announcing in what 8 days.
Is it 8? I thought it was 6. I thought it was 7.
No, it's next Tuesday. It's the 13th.
Yeah, that's right. I thought today was the 6th.
Buddy,
But
it's the
then that
13th.
wouldn't.
Don't
You
you
see,
agree?
hey man, I participated in Cinco de Mayo a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Evan also said he believes someone posted a Corvette at 3 o'clock.
Oh yeah, the
Could that be a sign? Maybe.
the red Corvette.
Little red Corvette.
You know what was the defining line for me in this whole recruitment that really made me believe that we were getting Jared Curtis? There was a report where so Jared Curtis got the Corvette, right? And somebody said something about like, well, his parents reached out to Kirby and they talked to him about it. I'm
Oh,
like,
about the
why
top.
is
Yeah. When he got the Corvette, they reached out to Kirby for that, not anybody else but Georgia. And I think what you're getting at is that's very important to me. If the family is reaching out to a certain school for off the field things, I
right?
thought that was very important. No, so Evan did say Cantwell, and this leads into a good situation to talk about right here. So Evan also said that Curtis will be in Athens this weekend. Could he be there to seal the deal for Cantwell?
Well, he actually said he was. He
So
said he was going to.
he's gonna work on it.
Yeah,
I like that vocal leadership right there in recruiting. That's a blunt way to put it, I would say.
yeah.
But no,
He said, come on, Cantwell."
I think Cantwell's listening. Listen, you get that man a DGD outdoor shirt, a gun with a truck, and some Waffle House at 2 a.m. Buddy, he might be signed up for. He might be a DGD for life if you ain't careful.
Nah, for real. Also, if he is listening, uh, Cantwell, I definitely will be out there to see you perform in the shot put. You know, as a
Yeah,
former shot putter myself,
I'll be a track
gotta
guy too.
say,
Yeah,
yeah, that's important. His parents, Olympians, and
he's got pedigree. Which, I mean, for his size to be what 6'7", 330 something too, that's something to keep in mind. I mean, and let's be honest, as a quarterback, man, your best friends are tight ends and offensive linemen, more so offensive linemen, but tight ends
dude,
like, you know what I'm saying? So,
dude, I watched tape. Uh, on not even just him throwing the shot put. Watch his dad.
oh shit.
Holy shit. Okay. Whoa. Okay.
He's
Yeah.
slinging.
Nah. I get it.
So you saying he's slinging more lead than a firefight?
Bro, I'm trying to tell you. I
Fair
am
enough.
trying to tell you.
Fair enough.
Big
No,
man pushing a boulder. Look out, everybody.
yeah, no, I think so. To get back to that same question, though, right? Like Cantwell feels to be the obvious answer, but I'm gonna be devil's advocate for this simply because it would be unannounced. But why couldn't it be Ryan Mosley? He did say something about decision coming soon. Now the question is how soon. But it would make sense. It would make sense if Cantwell commits in 8 days. Just saying.
Yeah.
Um, if that happens, I want you to understand Oregon is going through it.
And
If
I'm
that,
going to be here for it.
but they were distraught. Listening to some Oregon folks, they are the fan base is distraught.
They absolutely are.
not only did they miss Curtis the day, but yesterday Sunday they missed on a 4-star receiver too out of Oakland. So
Uh,
Ohio State plucked him out of the bay.
K. Dixon Wyatt.
Yeah,
K. Dixon Wyatt,
there you go.
the Ohio State commit wide receiver. Not gonna lie, he just looked like an Ohio State wide receiver.
But
To
to
be all
be
the way
honest,
fair,
if they go 0 for 3 out of all three of those, if Cantwell commits to Georgia, I will say this: I'm watching Miami on that one, even though I don't feel as confident. I think it would be Oregon in my opinion. But I'm not going to count Miami out because Miami could throw a serious bag out there. They would have to. They would have to.
yeah,
But common common sense is going to force people to think that Cantwell's coming to be a dog because of how close they are as friends, right? That's
yes,
what the common assumption will be. I'm not going to guarantee that because Cantwell's about to be extremely expensive too. But Georgia understands this. I think they've calculated their class worth in regards to how much they need to spend. Sign me up if you get them, right?
right,
That would be my thought. Because I mean, you need that bookend tackle. Now the question is, it'll probably be a right tackle, but nonetheless, sign me up. And then if you, I mean, you look at 27 for a bookend left tackle. I mean, the offensive line class seems to be pretty deep in 27 too.
yes,
Either way, I think if you get Cantwell, that's going to be massive too. Now the problem is there's so many good talents, elite talents that Georgia fans are wanting, but we have to pose the question that can we I don't think we can get them all, right? You get Curtis, what feels like a value looking after the numbers if those are what are being reported as accurate. But then you're looking at Cantwell, he's going to
yep,
ask for a lot of money.
yep,
Tyler Atkinson, a lot of money.
yep.
Fucking want that guy though. That he's going to be a fucking freak.
Roquan Smith 2.0.
Freak.
Roquan Smith 2.0.
And, then you're looking at Mark Bowman, right?
Now
And
that one,
Keon, you've been wanting them for a minute.
yeah,
But
we
then
got
I
to
mean,
restore the feeling.
it's like you're looking at the situation.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Jared Curtis. Cantwell.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Bowman.
But that offense would be dangerous because you still got Lincoln Keys as well. And
Lincoln
if you get
Keys.
Prothrow, if you see the thing is, if you get Prothrow, he could almost be a
Vance
big.
Spafford. Hold
Well,
on.
Spafford's in the class. Machese is in the class. Yeah, Evans saying Baby Brock, right? Like he even wears 19.
Them white
So
men are dangerous. I'm trying to tell you. I'm
what
trying
you
to
say?
tell you. I told you that them white men are dangerous.
Now you're not
No
wrong.
one is to go near them.
That's a fact.
I'm
But yeah,
excited.
I think where's the another Israel brought up a good point. He thinks Cantwell wants to come to Georgia, so the value might go down.
If the value goes down, hey Kirby, let's put the value for what we save for Curtis, what we potentially may save for Cantwell. Let's
Yeah, you
put
have to
that together.
well keep in mind you want to be careful simply because Curtis is kind of a little bit more backloaded, right? But come year 3 and you have to renegotiate. This is becoming more like a professional sports league. This is the exact logic behind of it. This is an
Yeah,
exact representation. But no, I think yours was onto something. I mean, Cantwell has said that he likes Georgia. There's a lot he likes about it. So, I mean, him wanting to come to Georgia, regardless what his agent threw out, you know, maybe you take a little bit less money to come to somewhere where you want to play. You'll get developed. You'll get drafted. Because we have sure seen a lot offensive linemen get drafted. Haven't even
especially
had.
when you play, especially when you play that tackle position, man.
Well, shit, we had guards go drafted. Think about it. You had
Uh,
Fairchild and Jared Wilson. That's all interior. That's
Yeah,
interior offensive line got drafted. Whole line, interior.
that's a fact.
So I'd be looking at that too, for sure. Who are some other names in this 26 class that you're looking at? I mean, outside of the aforementioned ones that we've talked about a little bit.
Yeah, Calvin Russell. I'm looking at him. Uh, the CD Morgan, Sedarian Morgan. That's one. Even though I think right now he's more of an Alabama lean. Um, looking at him, but there's a couple, and then that's just those guys. Hey, Savion Hyder,
Yes. You can see Derek
Derek
Cooper
Cooper,
or
which
Jay
I think
Lamar
Derek,
you want,
huh,
or Jay Lamar, whichever one wants to come here.
dude, I think if we get Derek Cooper, he's gonna play DB.
That's gonna be wild.
I think I really do think if we get him, he's gonna come and play DB. If he plays running back, even better. But um, but Savion, that's one I'm really looking at out of the him and Jay as well, Jay Lamar.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two that I'm really looking at as far as the running back position goes.
So you said
Huh?
Savion, and it reminded me of Xavier that's been on the show before.
Oh, you talking about the 6'8" monster?
Absolutely, 6'6".
That shit is crazy. He got a deep voice like an evil villain, and he's what, 17, 16?
Yeah, you got to go back and watch it if you haven't.
I mean,
But no, I think we look at the state of North Carolina. I think North Carolina can be really beneficial simply because if you get Cantwell, you still might be able to get Ekene for a little bit cheaper. Now the question is, can you get PJ Dean too?
that's Jared Wilson's brother, isn't it?
Yes.
Hey, man, say, man, what we doing?
You know what? I don't think there's Bojangles up there. If you're
See, that's the
listening,
problem.
okay? I don't think Bojangles up in Ohio State, to my
They
knowledge.
ain't got no Bojangles. You want good cooking in Ohio?
Yeah, you go to Cookout too. Are we recruiting? Apparently, okay.
Yeah,
Now there's a Cookout down in Athens too. So
I'm
I
trying
know
to tell you.
there's Cookout trays or something fierce.
They
Where
got
is that?
checkers and crystals down here. You know what you got up there in Ohio? You got chili cheese dogs and
Hey, chili cheese dogs are good though. That's the
nah, but
problem.
it's not what you think.
But
It's
it's
not
not
what
the
you
same.
think. It's not what you
It's not.
think. I'm not even gonna lie to you, Rob. It's so not what you think.
What, cheese dogs?
No, what they got up there in Ohio, bro, the food.
Oh, no, I'm just talking about it in general. The chili cheese dog is delicious.
Yes, it
I don't
is.
about not about in Ohio. I'm not sure, but in general, a chili cheese dog is amazing. Just gonna leave that there. So
Fair.
Cookout is better. Bojangles is better. Just
Bojangles is for sure better.
putting that out there. Just just saying. Um, but no, and then even 2027, there's some kids in 27 class that I'm excited to see, man. Quentin Cipher out of Millbrook,
Yes.
linebacker.
Yes.
Uh, Andrew Rogers from Dudley.
Yep.
Uh, actually, yeah, he just got offered by LSU today.
Yep. I
So
saw
shout
that.
out, man. Yeah, definitely gonna try to get.
Congratulations to him.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get Quentin on the show at some point too. By the way, I'll tell you right
Oh
now.
yeah, Quentin needs to know what he needs to do
Oh, I think
next
he should
cycle.
probably know it at some point. But
Yeah, we need
I
that one.
think I mean, if I had my way, I think it's all subjective upon what Schumann wants to do with that class of linebackers. But I would if he was a take and right if they greenlit it, I guarantee he'd commit. Quentin Cypher loves some Bulldogs. rightfully so.
Let's just get the whole state of North Carolina and come on down.
Be
Just
careful with that. And I'd have to. Damn! Don't make me move.
I'm trying to tell you. Come on down.
I'll just bring the next group. I'll bring the next group down. It's okay.
That's it.
Well, yeah. So let's get back to this. Oh yeah, we've went 45 minutes and still haven't even mentioned the fact that the show is brought to you by our friends over at Alumni Hall. You got so carried away with all the shared Curtis news. It is big news, but the show is brought to you by our friends over at Alumni Hall. Right, get your license, Nike, Cutter and Buck, Georgia apparel, right? Georgia apparel accessories. If you need stuff for the home or the office, they got you covered. DGDpod.com/alumni hall, or you can go to our website, dgdpodcast.com. Either way, whichever you remember, however, right?
Hey, Rob, I want to ask you this live on air. Is the Alumni Hall logo or is the link on your Twitter page?
So are you asking if it's on the Twitter page?
Yep.
So on the DGD podcast Twitter, it is not right now. I would have to find a way to put it in our bio. But if you go to our website, dgdpodcast.com, it's right there on the front. So to make it easier, we might just have to update the Twitter here in a little bit. Make it easy for everybody. But yeah, no, definitely go check them out. If you use our website to shop Alumni Hall, 8% will go to the Classic City Collective as well. So you're happy with Curtis and you want Cantwell, do your part. 8% goes to 8% of your total order goes to the Classic City Collective. So there's that. Thanks, Alumni Hall, for the sponsor of the show. Keanu, we're gonna wrap this up.
Before we do, I just want to say, because I'm currently looking for a backpack for my job, job.
Job.
Alumni Hall need a backpack.
I think they got them. They should.
Hold on. All right, let's do this.
Time check here. I would assume they'd have a good book bag. Pretty sure they do.
Oh, wait a second.
Did you see something? We need a drum roll.
Hold on. Wait a second.
I'm going to get started with the final observations for this commitment. Final words before we wrap up for the night. Excuse me. I think it's massive. We talked about it. It's a star quarterback. It's the first time since 2006 since you've had the top quarterback in a cycle. You got close with Justin Fields. Just obviously Trevor Lawrence, but nonetheless, I think you have to capitalize this, because if this hits, it's going to do things that you would never imagine for Georgia, especially when it comes to recruiting quarterbacks. If you can get him in here and you can develop him and get him drafted in the first round, you're going to see 5-star quarterbacks take Georgia to a different level of seriousness, if you will, in my opinion. So there's a lot riding on this commitment. However, I do think that the hard part was getting him into the class. And now you have to hold him until signing day and let him go from there. But it's a huge get. I'd say this is a program. This is a cycle defining moment.
Yes, it is.
To get him back in the class. It's the monumental class moment.
Yes, I think it's a very huge moment, and not only our quarterback development, what it can mean for our offense moving forward in the future. And I think one thing that all Georgia fans need to look at is, what if this works? What happens? Can you build off of this? How does it shape the position moving forward in regards to Georgia? I think it's very huge. Um, Mike Bobo, yet again, congratulations. Kirby Smart, yet again, congratulations. Uh, the recruiting staff, the recruiting coordinators, congratulations. Because this is not just a win for them, this is also a win for you as well. And congratulations to the fan base. This is huge. You know, I know from my perspective, I've been in multiple Georgia group chats or across this different social medias, and the agonizing question that it always seems to repeat itself every year. Oh man, well this quarterback, they're still rough here, they're still rough there. But when you have a guy who's coming in with such a high floor, it makes things easier, right? Um, Especially with the skill talent that we already have here on roster and that we're going to continue to build to. So yeah, I'm really excited moving forward about this cycle, about this class. Really excited for our coaches, and yet again the recruiting coordinators as well. This was an awesome get.
Yeah, it's a great way to start the month of May too. And
Absolutely.
just looking at it, I think the month is just beginning.
Yes.
So stick around, stay tuned, because I think there's more news to come. Um, typically, Georgia will. I know it's typically June. It was kind of July and then June, but I think something to note. I think May could be a big month simply due to the fact that you're going to see a lot of teams try to push, or a lot of players and agents try to push to get kids on NIL deals before any type of regulation comes into play, the rev
Yep.
sharing specifically. So it may force a sooner type flurry. And if you do, I think Georgia's going to benefit a lot from that, just depending upon who decides to come in. But definitely don't think that's the end of the. It's definitely not the last commit. I think you might see at least one, maybe two more this month. Just a guess there. We'll find out for sure when Jackson Cantwell commits. But today's about Jerry Curtis, man, and getting the signal caller, the marquee signal caller, your plan A for your class, finally comes to fruition. And I think it's a great day to be a Georgia Bulldog and see that you now got a 5-star quarterback that you can develop and have play on your team for the next couple years easily.
Yeah, I think that's another thing too, Rob, that I don't think enough people have talked about enough is hitting on your number one option. I don't think people have talked about it enough on how huge that is in a recruiting cycle. To have the signal caller that you wanted and that you have been targeting now for years, moving forward, you have him committed. Like I said, I think he signs. Uh, it's huge. It's huge for the team. It's huge for the offense. It's huge for the class. But with that said, man, I couldn't be happier for the coaches, the coordinators, and overall the fan base, man. I'm really happy we got him. I'm really looking forward to seeing him play here and seeing him develop here. So with that, man, I don't have nothing else to say besides them dogs as hell and go dogs, baby.
Thanks, Jared Curtis's mom, for forcing him to Georgia.
Right.
Oh, sorry, did I say that? Anyways, that's all we've got. It's a great day to be a dog. Go dogs. We will
Go
catch y'all next
dogs.
time on the DG podcast. Obviously, a little bit of a special occasion considering the fact we should be back to our normal off-season schedule. But until then, we will catch y'all next time. Have a great good morning, evening, afternoon, whenever you watch or listen. Go dogs.
Go dogs.